The customer dropped his truck off last night and we had it parked outside, and then I pulled it into the garage and you can actually see it rained yesterday and we had freezing rain in the morning, and now we've got kind of this melting puddle of ice. Hey guys, Chelsea from Attention to Details here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And what do you do when it's too cold to detail outside? You can see it's 27 degrees outside right now with the wind chill. It's probably closer to the high teens. But let me share with you guys some helpful tips on how I keep my detailing business open even during the coldest of temperatures. So first and foremost, and it kind of goes without saying, is you're going to want to have a garage space to be able to work out of. When I first started detailing out of my carport almost 5 years ago, I was extremely limited because I didn't have a safe place to store my chemicals. You can see I have a lot back here. I have a lot more all throughout the garage. And I had to store them inside in my basement, bring them up every time I wanted to use them. And even then, I was extremely limited with my processes that I could do, because even if I wanted to do a rinseless wash, if it was as cold as it is now, it would instantly freeze on the vehicle and I was battling ice. And eventually, I just had to kind of learn to close my doors. So once I was able to have a garage to work out of, that was transformative to my business. The second part that was extremely effective in helping me stay open was having a heat source. Now, this is a Bryant mini split. My husband does HVAC. I'm extremely lucky that I was able to have him install this for me this past year. It allows me to have air conditioning in the summer, also allows me to kind of help take the humidity out of the garage, and it gives me very comfortable heat. It's effective, it's affordable. For those of you that are looking for heat sources that don't have a lot of space, I highly encourage you guys look into a mini split of some sort. And you might be thinking to yourself, that sounds fantastic, Chelsea, just to say get a garage to work out of, but that's not my situation. I don't have access to a garage. Maybe you're a mobile detailer. Idealistically, if you have customers that have access to a garage and you can have a portable heat source like a propane tank heater or like a bullet heater, that's a way to be able to stay heated, to be able to do the work that you need to do, and then kind of proceed with your rinseless washes, ceramic coatings, interiors. But for those of you that maybe you are not a mobile detailer, maybe you have a home-based business like me, you don't have access to a garage, what do you do? Well, let me share with you kind of two scenarios that worked out for me in the past when I had my carport. And it may not be applicable to you, but hopefully can kind of help give you some ideas. I actually had a neighbor. He was the one that suggested I started the business to begin with when we lived at our old house. He was a single dad with a 2-car garage. He didn't need both bays. And so we kind of were discussing it one day, and he's like, why don't you just use my extra garage bay? And I wanted to discuss kind of an option of paying him rent, and he was like, just detail my car as payment and we'll be fine. And I was able to have a garage space to work out of. Now, it was insulated, but it wasn't heated. I had my propane tank top heater. I would run it for a few hours at a time, kept it above 50. That's safe for ceramic coatings. And I was able to stay open my second, third year of business by using his garage and also having kind of a portable heat solution. And I was able to do a lot of ceramic coatings and interiors for customers. And so that really worked. But his garage was actually not that large. I had a customer approach me that wanted me to ceramic coat his wife's Jeep Wrangler. It was actually lifted. It had the huge lights on top. It was like a Sahara edition. And I said, I don't have a garage space large enough to coat her truck or her Jeep out of. And he said, I'm a landscaper. I have a warehouse with multiple bays, huge doors. It's heated, has a drain in the floor. You can just use my space for free to be able to coat her Jeep out of. And after I did her Jeep, it turned out fantastic. He actually approached me and said, hey, if you ever need a space to do larger vehicles in, I'd be willing to rent you one of my garage bays to kind of work out of. His business slows down in the wintertime and he kind of shifts to just snow removal because he's a landscaper. And so that was an option for me as well if I ever needed a garage to do a large lifted vehicle out of. And so for those of you that maybe you don't have a friendly neighbor that you can use their garage space, or you don't have access to something like this, maybe there's a local business that you can kind of work out an arrangement, either rent a bay from them or maybe ceramic coat or work on their vehicles for free or for, some sort of payment to be able to use a space. This is where there's a will, there's a way. You got to get creative sometimes, but there are options out there. You just kind of have to maybe sometimes think outside of the box. But hopefully those suggestions can help those of you that don't have access to a garage out. Now, you might be looking at my garage and saying, how does she wash a vehicle in the wintertime? Well, this has actually worked out really well for me, and not everyone may be able to do this or feel comfortable doing this. But I actually recommend to customers prior to dropping their vehicle off, especially if we're in the wintertime and the vehicles have had salt or snow. And in fact, we had salt and snow this past weekend. We had about 4 inches of snow on Friday. But I actually told this customer prior to bringing it, and he had sent me a picture of it to kind of show me an issue that he had on the paint. But the vehicle was covered in salt, and I said, would you be willing to take the vehicle, run it through a non-touch car wash before you bring it to me? I will deduct $10 off of your bill to kind of compensate for the wash. Even if he did an $8 wash, he's making a $2 profit. But that's going to make my job a whole lot easier. Now I can come in, and let me flip this around for you, but you can see we do have a little bit of rain splatter on the vehicle because he drove it here and it was raining, but we've got all that salt off, and now I can quickly come in with a rinseless wash and finish kind of doing the detail work on this vehicle. I have extremely safe methods when it comes to doing rinseless washes, from using kind of a rinseless to foam it on or to help soften and lubricate. Come in, you can do a clay towel treatment, you can even do a chemical decon, use a rinseless wash, and you're not going to have a drain on your floors. You don't have to have a retainment mat to be able to do this method. I don't have to do heavy deep cleaning because you can see our tires and wheels essentially have gotten the grit off of them, especially like our wheel wells. I can just kind of button things up from this point on, and it's going to help me not to spend 2-3 hours doing a wash. Now I can just do a standard rinseless wash, and it's not going to be extra time or extra expense for the customer. So when it comes to washing a vehicle indoors, especially for me in my garage, I don't have a drain. Some of you have access to that. That's fantastic. You can wash a vehicle safely indoors. I do not. Rinseless washes are going to be primarily what I use. They are a fantastic way of safely washing a vehicle, getting a majority of the dirt and grime off. I can even do a clay towel treatment. And again, I can even do a wash, clay, and wax. I've done a comprehensive video on this method in the past. I'm going to put the link for it down below in the video description box for those of you that want a little bit more information on what a rinseless wash is. Now, there's been some advances since that video. In products, I've actually been using McKee's 37, their N914 rinseless wash and wax. The graphene rinseless wash is something they just released a few months ago. My favorite actually is their CO2 rinseless wash. It's a ceramic infused rinseless wash, has fantastic lubrication, smell, gloss, and shine. If you have a ceramic coated vehicle, this is actually my favorite product to do a rinseless wash on a vehicle. We got some options for those that want to do a wash, clay, and protect their vehicle all at once. But for those of you, like let's say I'm working on this truck today, I don't want anything with protection within it. I want to do a safe wash. We're going to do a chemical decon, a clay towel treatment, wash all together in one. These are the products that I'm typically going to grab for Owner's Pride. Eco Wash, a fantastic rinseless wash, has great cleaning capabilities. It has foaming capabilities if you use it like I am here. I'm going to be using my IK foamer. So we're going to be able to foam our rinseless wash on to give us kind of extra lubrication, a pre-foaming, so to speak. We have McKee's 37, their N914 rinseless wash, fantastic product. You can actually use this as a panel wipe as well, or a panel prep if you use it at the proper dilution ratio, as you can see here. But most rinseless washes are going to be at a 256:1 dilution ratio. You can see here even Wipeout can go further at 384, so exceptional value. This is fantastic cleaning capabilities as well. I've actually done a rinseless wash on engine bay, and it did a fantastic job removing a lot of caked on grease and grime. And then last but not least, we have Optimum No Rinse, or ONR as most like to refer to it as. This was one of the first rinseless washes on the market. It's still a great product today. I would say that some of the newer products that have been on the market maybe offer a little bit more cleaning capabilities and lubrication, but this will still get the job done. It's really fantastic value. I like the fact that this product right here, if you use the cap, that is in half an ounce, and you need 1 ounce per 2 gallons, so 2 capfuls for 2 gallons, and it has its own kind of way to measure it out. So all of these products are going to get the job done. Let me share with you quickly, I'm going to go into time lapse, but show you how I would do a wash, chemical decon, clay bar treatment on this truck to get it ready for our ceramic coating within my garage. A question I frequently get asked on my channel is how would I go about doing a rinseless wash on tires and wheels? You can see these kind of have been pre-washed. They're not in terrible condition. If they were really, really badly dirty or caked with mud, I might not recommend this method. But you can see I'm using kind of McKee's 37 N914 in a bucket with 2 gallons of water. I have multiple black microfibers. I have OP Eco Wash in my IK foaming pump sprayer. I'm going to just foam that on, and then I'm going to use Meguiar's non-acid tire and wheel cleaner. I don't want anything super acidic or super strong because I'm going to have those chemicals sitting on my floor of my garage, but I'm going to come in, agitate, wipe things off as much as I can, do a quick scrub of my wheels. I am not in this moment focusing on my inner wheel barrels. I'm going to try to get as much as I can with my microfiber, but it's very hard to do a safe method. If your inner wheel barrels are really caked on with dust or dirt, you're going to end up scratching them. So I personally just kind of focus on wheel faces and tires when I am doing rinseless washes just for safety's sake. I'm going to wipe off as much of that foam as I can. And then I'm going to actually bring out my McKee's 37 Hurricane Carb Blow Dryer. And I'm going to actually blow out a majority of that foam off of the tire and wheel. And then I'm going to finish up with a plush microfiber and just dry things off. And I'm just going to repeat this process super quick for those of you that want to see it again on our back tire. We're going to foam everything on. We're going to agitate, clean, mop up, blow it dry. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. So now let's move on to the paint, and this process is going to look a little differently because I'm going to be doing a chemical decontamination. I've got Owner's Pride Eco Wash. I've got my big red sponge and clay towel soaking in that solution so that way it can be nice and soft. I do have a second bucket with ADG Wipeout in it. Now you can use whatever rinseless solution you want. But first we're going to go ahead. We're going to do our contact wash. The roof isn't dirty, so I don't need to pre-spray it. We're going to do our contact wash with our big red sponge. Next, I'm going to spray my iron remover. This is McKee's 37 iron remover. It's a fast-acting, fantastic chemical decon, and I'm going to use my clay towel. Now, I'm going to let that solution kind of sit on there, and I'm going to take some plush microfibers that are used for rinseless washes. I've got multiple in a bucket, and what I'm going to do is kind of try to mop up a majority of that chemical iron remover. So that way I'm not putting that chemical decon solution back in my bucket that I use to wash the rest of the vehicle. Now that I've mopped up a majority of that chemical decon iron remover, I'm going to go over my panel again with my big red sponge, dry everything off, and we've been able to do a chemical decon, a clay towel treatment, and a wash all in once very quickly. I was able to get around this vehicle in just about as much time as it would take for me to do a wash, a chemical decon, and a clay towel with my foam cannon and my pressure washer outside. So this is a very quick and effective way to do it. Some of you may not do it or may do it differently, but this is what works for me. And I'm going to start at the top, work my way down. We're going to get all of our larger surfaces off so that way I'm not brushing up against things and either making them dirty or potentially scratching them. But if you've never done a clay towel treatment, it's very effective as long as you have proper lubrication. That's why we are kind of initially wiping off the panel with our big red sponge to get a majority of the dirt. There is some light clay towel marring that can occur with this, but we are polishing the paint, so I'm not worried about this in the moment. For those of you that you don't want to polish the paint and you're concerned about micro marring, you can use a clay bar treatment. And what's nice about the McKee's 37 Extreme Iron Remover is it has really nice lubrication to it, so it's going to help give you more lubrication when you do your clay towel treatment. So we got our roof done, we've got our hood done. I'm just doing the tonneau bed cover real quick. I'm actually using the OP Eco Wash. I'm going to use an Auto Fiber Scrub Ninja. I'm going to clean it, dry it off, and then work on my side surfaces next. First, we're going to foam on OP Eco Wash to loosen and soften some of the dirt on the lower panels. This is just giving a safer wash method. I'm going to do my rinseless wash on each panel, and then I'm spraying Extreme Iron Remover and letting it sit on the panel for a few seconds while I finish the rinseless wash on the rest of the side. Then we're going to come in with our Ultra Clay Towel, and we're going to do a clay towel treatment. I'm going to go over the surface until it is smooth to the touch and I don't hear any sort of grit, and then we're going to take our microfiber, and one side per panel I'm going to mop up the Extreme Iron Remover residue, and then we're going to actually do a second rinseless wash again on all of the lower panels, and then we're going to dry everything off. And again, we've done our wash, our chemical decon, our clay towel treatment, and dry everything all in one step very quickly and very efficiently. We're going to repeat this process on the other side of the vehicle, and essentially we are done with our rinseless wash, chemical decon, and clay towel treatment. And this is just to show you just how much puddling we have after doing our rinseless wash. There's very, very light micro marring on the surface. It's nice and smooth to the touch. I have to do a heavy polish on this vehicle anyway, so I'm not worried about any micro marring that occurred. But for those of you that don't have a drain or a retainment mat, this is an effective solution. Oh Lord, help me with this paint. We've got a lot of work cut out for us. The customer actually tried to polish us by hand with a heavy compound and did some extreme micro marring. So we need to do a very good polish. But now we have completely decontaminated and cleaned paint, so I can see the true condition of the paint. And I am also prepped for my coating. We'll do our polish. We'll do a panel prep wipe, and then we'll apply our ceramic coating. So for those of you that are looking for options or solutions for winter detailing, this is how I go about to do it for my business. So hopefully this can help some of you guys out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And if you have a different technique or a different process or different product that works for you, by all means, please share that information in the comment section down below so that others can maybe learn from what has worked for you. But thank you guys for watching. We're going to keep moving on this detail. If you want to see the finished result, make sure you head on over to my Facebook page, Attention to Details in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we will see you guys in the next detail. Have a fantastic day. Stay warm, stay safe. We'll see you in the next detail.